Introducing the epic new Swift. Time to go swifting.
All right, step aside then. The World Cup has commenced, but today is perhaps where it truly begins, as India make their bow in New York against Ireland in what is a much talked about surface, much talked about conditions. We build up to India's first game in the ICC Men's T20 World Cup 2024 on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout. A very good evening to Sanjay Manjrekar, who I cannot emphasize how much I'm enjoying your return to our studios. Much awaited. You started the tournament with us. The last time you were with us when a game was being played at New York, it was a quick finish. I hope I have the pleasure of your company for longer today.
I see a hint of sarcasm in what you just said.
Never.
I don't know whether it's coming from your...
Not at all, not at all. Do you want to hear sincere appreciation? Let me welcome Andy Flower back on our network. Man who quietly re-engineered the RCB resurgence, and what a resurgence it was. He's got the look of an aviator right now with the big cans around him. Andy, good afternoon to you. How are you doing?
Ronak, I am very well, thank you, and thanks for the invitation to be with you today.
And what a player. We now see him as a coach, but what a player he was, Andy.
I thought you'll give me more after that, just a water player.
Yeah, because we want to sort of get on with the match as well. But one of the best players to have played on Indian turning pitches, foreign batter. I mean, it was incredible.
Pitches is going to be a key part of the conversation today. We saw a little bit of what Nassau County Stadium offers in the warm-up game between India and Bangladesh, and we saw even lesser in the first game between Sri Lanka and South Africa, given how South Africa's paces blew Sri Lanka away. Rohit Sharma has won his first toss. India are going to have a bowl first, which is the headline coming through from New York, and much curiosity about the team news, which we'll come to in just a second. But that's the game, 77 all out. It looks like overcast conditions, which once again could see the seamers play a part.
Yes, and even if the conditions weren't overcast, it makes sense to bowl first. And I was surprised that Sri Lanka chose to, bat first against South Africa. It's a 10 a.m. start in the West Indies and the US as well. And the pitch is under covers overnight, so there is always going to be some help for the seam bowlers in the first maybe 45, 50 minutes, even more than maybe later. And in T20 cricket, when you're looking at 45, 50 minutes, it's actually 7, 8, 10 overs, virtually half the inning where you have an advantage as a bowling side. So India won an important toss and have taken the right decision to bowl first.
All right, Andy, early days in the tournament still. And we're seeing a fair bit of weather around. Are there any impressions you've made yet at what could possibly be trends and patterns, what could be a design for success in this World Cup? We heard Rahul Dravid say recently that even 140 could be a winning score, and I guess we know where he's coming from.
Well, all the Indian games in this first round are in the USA, so we're not too sure about how conditions are going to play out. We did see the South Africa-Sri Lanka game, and the bowlers dominated. So I would imagine we might see a similar thing in this match today. India's seamers moving the ball early. We know how good Bumrah and Arshdeep can be. So absolutely they've done the right thing by bowling first, I believe, after winning the toss. And then we'll see what it's like in the Caribbean. Smaller ground, wind usually plays a part in your tactical game. And so does spin. So it's going to be a fascinating tournament with changing conditions in the two countries.
Okay. No Jaiswal. So Virat will open and Rishabh Pant at number 3, which is again a good call.
Stolen my thunder is about to make a big build-up about how that is.
Sorry. Yeah, that's my thing, I steal people's thunder.
No, but we must bring this up. Finally, it has been confirmed. Much speculation about what India's top order would look like. And on the team sheet, it'll happen in the second innings. For the time being, we'll see the bowlers. But Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli are listed as openers in India's opening game of this ICC Men's T20 World Cup. No Yashasvi Jaiswal. And we'll come to the absence of Kuldeep Yadav as well, with both left-arm spinning all-rounders playing and all three specialist seamers playing, something Sanjay Manjrekar did predict. Let's focus at the top first. Rohit and Kohli it is indeed, with possibly Pant at 3.
Yeah, I thought maybe there would be last-minute changes in approach, purely because the New York pitch is something that we didn't expect too much life in it. And I thought maybe Virat Kohli would be the right guy to bat at number 3, Yashasvi Jaiswal, left-hand, right-hand combination. But India have gone with Virat Kohli opening, and when you look at his record as well, you see that when he opens, His strike rate also gets better because he has the advantage of the first 6 overs. But this is not about the first 6 overs and death over. This is a completely different T20 sort of tournament. And you can see their his strike rate in T20 ice pretty good when he's opening. So that mystery is solved. Kuldeep Yadav is a very, very smart call because this is a surface where you need bowlers who can just land it there. You know, not too much of mystery needed or skills or artistry. You need that on flat pitches. So even Hardik Pandya is a bowler who can bowl the 4 overs. India have got many bowling options, a lot of batting depth. On a flat pitch in India may not be the right kind of balance, but in New York, on a surface that we have against Ireland, I think this is a very, very smart selection.
All right, we'll come to that Kuldeep selection more in detail in just a moment. We spent some time now on the decision that's been finalized, and now you sense it's going to carry on for the rest of the tournament. Andy, I've got you on just for the right game, haven't I? Because we speak of Virat Kohli opening the batting, the difference in impact that he has when he's in that position. We saw the numbers now, and we most significantly saw perhaps a reinvented Virat Kohli towards the second part of the IPL with RCB that you were part of. Just talk us through your observations on how Kohli reinvented perhaps his power game at the top and what we're likely to see from him in this World Cup.
Yeah, it was a fascinating first season for me with RCB. Obviously, an amazing fan base to play in front of. Chinnaswamy is a great place to play, and then my first real close-up interaction with Virat, which I must say was an absolute pleasure. He was a brilliant man to have in the dressing room and in team meetings. And then we saw what he did with the bat, which was incredibly impressive. One of the most impressive aspects to what I saw was Virat having the humility and ambition to still evolve his game, even at this stage in his career. 34, 35 years old, he's done pretty much everything in the game. But he was willing to challenge himself and push himself. And we saw a different player of spin willing to take more chances, willing to hit the ball over the boundary in the air. And I must commend him for that. I think that's it's a great reflection on his strength of character and his ambition. And he certainly, he drove that that resurgence that RCB had in the second half of the season, along with the skipper, Faf du Plessis.
I can imagine, Andy, that you cracked the whip halfway through the season, didn't you, and told Kohli he's got to bat at a higher strike rate?
You reckon cracking the whip works, do you, with guys like Virat?
No, for that, I think, Andy, we need to take
cookie,
credit. The outside noise. We'll have to take credit for the improved strike rate because Andy and all the other guys around Virat Kohli in the dressing room are the inside noise. So
I see.
But he's so right about a guy who wants to keep working on his game. Tendulkar was the same, the longevity of greatness. Now, it can be great for a few years. To be great for 10, 15 years is a tough thing to do, but
I guess the question now asks itself, Sanjay and Andy both, on whether we can expect Kohli to bat the same way here, given everything we've said about conditions, and of course, the partner that he has in the form of Rohit Sharma. Are you expecting Virat Kohli to bat in the same design that he did towards the second half of the IPL, Andy?
Well, first things first. I think when you're batting in partnership with someone, I think you have to dovetail well. So I think both of them should be looking to be hyper aggressive at the start. I think and then also assessing conditions while you're in that aggressive mode. And sometimes it'll be one person's day, and another time you'll have to take over the mantle of being the aggressor. So I would imagine with the cricket intelligence shared between those two outstanding players, that's what will happen. But I do expect Virat to play in a similarly aggressive mode, with one caveat. That is the conditions in which they find themselves playing. If the pitch demands a different type of method, then he's got the cricketing intelligence that we've seen over many years in all formats to fall upon, and I would imagine he will tailor his play accordingly.
In a run chase, I don't mind somebody sort of, not really being attacking or aggressive, but setting a target, which is not the case today. I don't believe in anybody sort of supporting the other and letting a guy, who's having a better day, take center stage, especially with the kind of batting lineup India have now, with Akshar Patel in, Jadeja, Dube, Hardik Pandya, a lot of batting. Everyone must look to play freely, and that conservativeness that sometimes the seniors possess, they've got to just get rid of it. Maybe it's not going to be imperative in the earlier games, but going forward in the knockout matches, that has been India's problem in the big games, and that is what I'd like to see as the template when everyone goes out there and bats freely.
Do you sense that this World Cup, given the conditions and the timing India play, and what we're seeing at least for now, that it is difficult? We've seen big hitters, even the likes of Nicholas Puran, kept quiet, lots of dot balls. Do you sense that perhaps the challenging conditions is something that will work in India's favour, with their top three now being Test quality batters in Rohit, Virat and Pant?
Absolutely. At the start, I thought India should have gone with a new look T20 team, considering experience hadn't paid off. But now the kind of conditions that you see in New York and Guyana as well, and a couple of other pitches as well. And I don't see all those pitches flattening out as the tournament goes on. So it's a blessing in disguise. Who knows? It's been a long time since India won an ICC title. Maybe the forces are now conspiring and coming together to make sure that India goes all the way, because they have the batting now with Rishabh Pant at number 3, another batter with Test pedigree. So you've got 1, 2, 3 exceptional Test batters batting in T20 cricket in these conditions, which is going to be just perfect for India.
Given, Andy, you can extend on the same point, and given you mentioned the importance of dovetailing in a partnership, we look at Rohit Sharma's numbers as well, and the potential role he will have and the impact he'll have as a batter here. A hallmark of a number of your T20 teams has been the right-left combination. India have gone with the 2 right-handers. That's Rohit Sharma in IPL 2023, and the series before that, just 3 games against Afghanistan. They've now promoted Pant at 3. How significant do you think that is in perhaps the impact the India's top order could have? Or is there a challenge where teams, oppositions line up nicely or match up nicely against Rohit and Kohli at the top?
Yeah, I must say that during this whole fascinating debate about who was going to open the batting for India in this tournament, I thought Jaiswal might get the crack actually and Kohli go 3. But there must be quite a push from the brains trust in the Indian dressing room to have Dube in that middle order to hit the spin. I'm assuming that's the reason they've gone this way, and so I do think that I do agree with Sanjay that the constant should be an attitude of definitely taking on the bowling in that first 6. And then the left-handed options come a little further down. Yes, at number 3 with Pant, and the fact that he's been an all-3 format player, I think, again agreeing with Sanjay, I think that stands him in really good stead in slightly testing conditions, which we're seeing play out at the moment in this early part of the World Cup.
Okay, let's move to the other interesting combination India go with today. Both left-arm spin all-rounders play in the same 11. We're trying to now understand why India picked the squad they did, and we're getting evidence of that in the first game itself. Akshar and Jadeja together.
Again, the pitch has dictated that move purely because we mentioned that in the preview too, that there could be a chance Kuldeep Yadav might be left out, because what you need on a surface which has so much for the bowlers, Keshav Maharaj getting a couple of wickets against Sri Lanka was a case in point. So you just get guys who can land the ball in the right areas is the cliche term, and it will work beautifully here in this on this New York pitch. Plus the fact, I think India don't want that conservative nature of batting which has ailed them in the ICC events. So Akshar Patel, the batter, also has a lot to do with his selection in the playing 11.
Does the opposition perhaps have something to do with it as well, Andy? Ireland nicely line up right-handers right through that top and middle order?
Yeah, I think those 2 factors are the big ones in this decision. It's the pitch that might be a little bowler-friendly, and therefore a longer batting order would be advisable just in case they get into a little bit of trouble. and just having a little bit of insurance for them. And then all those right-handers. These are two high-quality left-arm spinners in this format of the game, and bowling at that lineup of right-handers, they should be able to not only keep them quiet but create chances as well.
You can understand why there was. Yes, Andy, please.
Yeah.
I must say, I don't like generally going into a game without a wrist spinner of some description. and Kuldeep was in such good form in the IPL. I'm sure he's got a huge role to play in this tournament for India. But I think for this particular game, there are two very, very good reasons why they've gone this way.
You saw Sri Lanka as well in that whole innings against South Africa. Tikshana didn't bowl a single delivery. And it was particular kind of bowler that bowled. Angelo Matthews bowled a lot. Daswin Shanaka bowled. So I think that's a very smart, and it's more Rahul Dravid kind of thinking, horses for courses. When he was the coach of Rajasthan Royals, that's what he looked to do. So good selection. And come, the better pitches, stronger opposition when you need a bit of, skill. And there isn't much help, which is unlikely to be right through the tournament. Kuldeep will start featuring.
Is Kuldeep at that stage of his game where if you are going to play him against Pakistan, that being his first game, he'd turn up red hot and you're okay to leave him out here? Would you have rather played him in this game because he's in your best team?
See, Pakistan is not a strong team.
Oh my, okay, we can end it there.
Yeah, it's not a strong team. It's not a strong T20 team. Hasn't been for a while. So Kuldeep Yadav, the kind of form that he's riding at the moment and his success against some of the stronger teams, absolutely no pressure coming back into this big game, which is a big game for everybody. Barring the actual contest, when it actually happens, you know where India stands and where Pakistan is.
Andy Flower has got a lot of love and coached and with great success with Pakistan, so I'll allow him at least a rebuttal or at least a point on that before we move on.
Is Pakistan in anyone's top 4?
Andy?
Well, I wouldn't dismiss them quite as quickly as Sanjay would have.
Yeah, I see the world in black and white, Andy.
The world is never that black and white.
Yes. Yeah, that's why we have people like you.
They can be in world tournaments. So they've always got excellent attacking options with a ball, and so they will still pose. They will pose a threat. No doubt. I've got no doubt about that. But Kuldeep.
The question is:
yes,
is Pakistan in his top 4?
No, I wouldn't put them in my top 4. No, if you want black and white.
Good fun.
Since you guys go back long enough,
the best thing would be Pakistan winning this title for the second time at the end of this tournament, and then you can replay all this.
We won't need to. Enough people will pick it out and put it out. Yeah. Since you guys go back a long way, right, from that inaugural test, I won't have to apologize to Andy on your behalf. He knows you longer and better than me. So we leave it there.
He is a sport.
How about the other answers that we've got with India's first 11? Both Dube and Hardik Pandya in the team. We got an inkling of that, an indication of it, and we saw how they lined up in the warm-up game. But the presence of the two seam bowling all-rounders, can we both call them that, or is Hardik Pandya, the bowler, likely to play a bigger role and not Shivam Dube, the bowler, perhaps?
Shivam Dube may not be needed to bowl as well, because Hardik Pandya looked good in the way he ran and bowled in the warm-up game, didn't have great figures, but this is a pitch where you need Hardik Pandya kind of bowlers. In fact, he might actually outbowl some of the other bowlers. Arshdeep Singh now, for example.
Sorry, but why is that? Why do you need a Hardik Pandya kind of bowler? What does that mean?
Because the only thing we've seen what you have to do. Why Angelo Matthews, Daswin Shanaka bowl so much is just come and land the ball on the surface. There's so much health there on good length. And Arshdeep and Kuldeep Yadav are guys when the pitch is flat, they are the ones who will trouble the batter because they've got skills in the air and variation in length. Here you need very simple people, just bowlers coming in and pitching that ball in the right areas, and everything will happen from there. So that is why India have gone with less skills. And Arshdeep also, I mean, if they had to leave him out and use Hardik Pandya and have an extra batter as well, that could have been the way to go, or Kuldeep. But Arshdeep, just the way he's bowling currently, it's a good thing he's in the 11.
Well, it's all three specialist seamers playing, and that's as many as India carried in their squad of 15. They thought they had enough backup seam bowling resources in Hardik Pandya and Shivam Dube, who Stephen Fleming has quite an interesting take on where Shivam Dube's bowling stands. We didn't get to watch a lot of it in the IPL, but we did catch up with Flem before this.
The batting is one bit of it. One part of the conversation, it's been a huge part of the conversation here, is we haven't seen Dube bowl much. What kind of bowling shape has he been in?
Well, if his bowling's the way he talks about it, he's like Kapil Dev. But he's been working really hard. He worked hard through the IPL. We had a number of players that could do that all-round role. And again, with the impact player role, it actually diminishes the role of an all-rounder or a part-time bowler who bats well, which is a bit of a shame. But he's been doing his bowling. He's had his loads up. He can be awkward in the right conditions, which you'd say would be a little bit slow, whereas cutters and change of pace could play a part. He can play a part. He can do a job, and he's worked very hard on it.
Stephen Fleming catching up with Yash Jha ahead of this, and that brought a smile on our faces.
That is Flem for you, because he's a guy, he's a damn intelligent cricketer, great coach, but he's always willing to have a bit of a laugh, and he's cheeky in many ways, and it's always great to catch up with him. And
this point itself though tells us that Dube is quite confident about his own bowling, which is a good first step.
So is Shardul Thakur, I'm told, and all these people. So I don't know whether it's actual deep-rooted self-confidence or is it bravado?
Just very quickly, on Dube itself, one of the few players along with Hardik Pandya Andy who did not finish the IPL as strongly. Hardik had a pretty testing IPL as such. Is it at all a concern, the form of certain India players who will be key, but that they didn't have a strong IPL?
I think his franchise coach there is being super optimistic about it, isn't he? He said he's got his loads up. That must be loads in practice. He has not bowled much in games at all. But on his batting, more to the point. Yes, he had a quiet time, certainly in the second half of the IPL. And I thought that some of the opposition bowling sides did some really good jobs in closing him down. He was also dismissed a number of times in the middle of the IPL by spin. And he's got a specialist role as a batsman in the middle order of CSK to go in and hit spin from the word go, and that's the role that India are looking for him to play in this World Cup. So I would imagine, and just watching him in a couple of those games towards the end of the IPL, his confidence took a little bit of a knock. So he might be a weak link in the Indian batting against some of the better, stronger international sides in this World Cup. It's going to be interesting to see some of the bowling tactics against him, and whether he can work out a way to thrive.
Well said. I, for one, thought Rinku Singh should have been in the squad. But what is interesting in this selection, Ronak, is the fact that Indian selectors and the team management are thinking a bit like England used to 5 years back, 10 years back. Pack your team with guys who can do two things, thereby adding to the batting depth. Shivam Dube is in the side not just as a power hitter, also the fact that there's no impact sub and you might need to sometimes get him to bowl. Hardik Pandya, who knows how fit he will be right through the tournament to bowl his 4 overs. So that's a very good summation of Shivam Dube. For me, Rinku Singh as a batter was a more capable option, only as a pure batter. But Shivam Dube's couple of overs, the potential of him bowling a couple of overs as maybe just one.
And I go back to the impressions that Tom Moody had towards the end, who was with us for the IPL. And he said that looking at Dube, how he performed when the pressure got to CSK, those were as good as knockout games. That for him was a telling difference. And Rinku Singh, on the other hand, has developed a reputation playing high pressure situations. So there will be a debate. Andy brought up that point too.
Yeah, it's a little unfair comparison as well, Rana, because Rinku Singh is somebody who's had, in his small career, he's got tremendous success at the T20 International, but unfortunately quiet IPL just before the selection was
I guess
made.
the key here is whether India have found a balance of their team which allows Dube some cushion to find some form. If he's going to bat a position higher given Kohli, Rohit and then Pant and Surya, and Hardik to do his role. Perhaps that is the key to Dube's success, those around him actually hitting form?
See now the way things have panned out. Now Shivam Dube would have loved small grounds, good batting pitches, but we are seeing nothing of that kind. So it's actually going to test the depth of Shivam Dube, the batter, and it's a tough position to bat. And we saw him struggle a bit in the warm-up games. He just had one hit and struggled with the pace. So let's hope, he makes the best of the opportunity. But Andy's absolutely right. He's the weak link in that batting lineup.
I love it. I'm asking the social media giants to get underway. RCB head coach says CSK key man to be weak link potentially in the Indian team. That'll have them busy for a few days. But
you shouldn't turn up for these guys, notorious people.
No, come on. I'll do a better job than that. Andy knows that. Just having fun. Shall we quickly confirm the Irish team as well? Don't take Ireland for granted over here. This is a team that's high on pride when it comes to their ICC performances. They recently beat Pakistan. They beat Afghanistan as well in the build-up to the T20 World Cup. They stack up as right-handers. Paul Sterling is now captain of this side. Andy Balbirnie was at the last edition. Lochan Tucker and Harry Tector are key players. Tector got a fine score the last time India were in Ireland. All-rounders begin with Curtis Campher, George Dockrell and Garrett Delaney as leg spin. You've got Mark Adair, Barry McCarthy, Josh Little and Ben White, who will share seam bowling responsibilities. All right, fast approaching the first ball. It's tough to ask for predictions when we really don't know very little about the surface, but we've seen more grass on it. A score, perhaps, that Ireland would be happy with to keep themselves in the game?
I think if they get to 150 would be great, because the outfield as well is slow. But I believe they've shaved off the grass in the outfield, so it might be quicker. We'll have a look at the conditions, but based on what we've seen until now, maybe 150, 160 would be a great score.
Andy, quickly looking at that Irish side, just summation of what they need to do right?
Well, they've had some really good success recently, and I think they're fairly confident side. That Ireland side is always competitive, super competitive bunch of guys. So they're going to take the game to India.
All right, fair enough. 150 odd or so would be a great score with the early patterns that have developed so far in the World Cup. We will pick up the conversation with Andy Flower and Sanjay Manjrekar at the end of the Irish innings. Join us then for analysis on Maruti Suzuki Arena Presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout. Do download the mobile app, faster scores and so much more as the World Cup kicks off for Rohit Sharma and co in New York. Let's hope it's a good one. The sun's just come out, which is good news. We don't want any weather coming through today, and we will catch up at the end of 20 overs.
Introducing the epic new Swift. Time to go swifting.